Hey, Jacob Tender.
Mm-hmm.
I was out for my regular run, and I was thinking about this episode topic, and just really focusing on conflicting Star Wars ideas and debating. And I just saw a couple arguing out in their front stoop, and all I could think about was that they had to have been arguing about Star Wars. There was nothing in my mind else but Star Wars, and I was like, they have to be debating on what movie they're going to watch tonight, or they have to be just talking about something crazy, just some crazy Snoke theory or something like that, you know?
I'm almost positive that wasn't the case, but I can see where your head's at.
Don't say that. Just don't. Don't say it wasn't the case. They had to have been.
I'm sure he just forgot to clean out the gutters or something. Do you have gutters in New York?
No, we just have sewers that overflow.
That sounds disgusting.
Our streets pile up, our roofs leak. That's what we do.
That sounds terrible.
Welcome to Bantha Fodder, episode 6. We made it. Again, all the way to episode 6.
You know, one of these times you're going to stop saying that and actually believe that the show is going to continue on.
I just can't believe it, you know? I've never committed to something this hard in my life before. I don't think I've committed to my music career as hard as I've committed to this podcast.
You know, it's hilarious that you say that, because lately, you know, I was talking to a friend who started listening to our show, and I haven't talked to her for probably a couple of years. So the fact that she kind of reached out and said that she was listening was really cool. And she's like, "Who is it that you're recording with?" I'm like, "Oh, his name's Mike. He's a musician that I really respected for a long time, and now we found ourselves collaborating on this project." She's like, "Oh, that's really cool. What's his music like?" So I was explaining her music, and I was telling her how much I loved it and why I was such a big fan, and how cool it is to work with somebody that I'm a big fan of, and all that.
I'm blushing right now.
And then I realized that in podcasting with you now, Mike, I am taking up time of yours that could be used dedicated to writing my new favorite album.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man.
So I'm actually ruining my own life just by preventing you from doing what maybe you could be doing.
Every week I spend editing for 8 to 10 hours each episode. I'm like, that would have been a great song to write. That would have been time well devoted to writing a song.
And that's why I'm so dedicated to fixing all these mic issues, so you don't have to cut out all the silences and everything.
It's getting easier every time. It's getting easier. I think I only spent like six hours editing last episode.
That's good, because I really want Old Best Friend LP2, or at least EP2.
I'm doing, my goal right now is one song a month, which is I recognize for a lot of musicians that's a lame goal, and people are like, well, you should definitely be outputting way more than that. But I'm focusing on quality here, and then after, I think I'm going to do like a Pedro the Lion style and do like an 8 song EP, or I'm going to call it an LP, even though it's going to be like a nice 8 song album.
That's close enough. I mean, I don't think you can fit that on one side of a record.
Right. Well, I mean, depends how long I go with these songs. It will be entirely Star Wars themed, though. Everything will be
oh my God.
all Star Wars themes.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I'd like that.
No, I don't. I swear to God, if one more podcast uses the metal theme.
Oh, is that the video where like everything is super shiny and like all the stormtroopers and Darth Vader are holding like the super shiny Captain Phasma like guitars?
Yep.
Oh,
it's a
my
Stormtrooper,
gosh.
Darth Vader, and I think Boba Fett are all playing, and I forget if there's another character, but they're all playing against a green screen with like stuff, and then like halfway through the video they just cut, and they have like a bunch of funny like guitar tuning with the Force or something like that, and like somebody Force chokes somebody else, and then...
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one. But I am aware of the noise.
Yeah. God. There's some serious shredding going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say, speaking of feedback, I got a text the other day. My friend Will texted me. He's like, my younger brother loves the podcast, and you saw his tweet probably.
Oh, was that him?
Yeah. So
okay, yeah, I did see that.
Jamie Lambros, just really, I hope he's shredding to that Star Wars metal, because he is a great guitar player.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I was pleased to see his feedback. It means a lot when people I know are enjoying the show.
Me too. It means a lot when people I don't know are reaching out to the show. That's awesome, because then I know it's not just like my mom and my girlfriend.
I honestly don't think my mom has made it through one of these episodes yet.
Oh, that's a shame.
My girlfriend definitely has not made it through. Oh my gosh. Absolutely not.
Really? Yeah, my girlfriend listened to episodes 1 and then 2 while I was listening back for edits, and I think that's it.
Yeah, no, she won't touch it. That's why she won't write a review. I was like, hey, you want to review the podcast? She's like, well, I can't because,
That's fair. At least she's fair about it. She wants to stay objective.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, as far as feedback goes, we've been getting some good stuff. Got some reviews. Like you said, got some people hitting us up on Twitter, which is always fun. I just love getting those notifications from the Bantha Fodder account. I get a lot of notifications from my other accounts, and it's
so
nice
popular.
to see that one get some love. I'm a busy guy. It's not that I'm popular. I just have a lot of things to do. But we've got some new friends in the podcasting universe. So thanks to Star Wars Expose and Nerf Herder Council, Blah with the Hut, we were included in a podcast roundup a week or so back. That was pretty cool. They had some really great things to say about episode 4, I believe.
The Weapon of a Jedi episode.
Yeah. It was the one reviewing the Jason Fry book, and they liked that and said they'd listen to some more. So
that was great feedback too. I really appreciated the feedback when he said that there are spoilers, because we actually didn't do a spoiler alert or anything like that, or like we didn't mention before we started talking about it. We kind of just there was no trigger warning.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is a huge deal for like a YA novel. I don't think anyone's hanging on being like, oh my god, I found out that Luke learns how to use the Force.
I think anybody going into an episode from the top where we mentioned that we were going to be talking about a book, I think that's warning enough.
Yeah. But I appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely a good note. What else we got? Follow up on your health.
My health is okay, but I'm okay. I know a lot of you were holding your breath last episode about the kidney stone. It was not a kidney stone, at least I don't think it was. I definitely did not go to the doctor, which I would not advise in the future, skipping the doctor when you're having pain. But we're pretty sure it's musculoskeletal at this point.
That doesn't sound better.
Well, I'd rather have a sore muscle than a piece of calcium slowly moving through my uratory system. So that's not a word, is it? Urator?
Close enough.
You got the idea. Yeah, uratory. Yeah, urology. Urology is the study of the uratory system. Sure.
So long story short, you're alive.
I'm alive, and I hope to stay alive at least until we get. I'm really looking forward to some of our future episodes. I don't want to spoil them now, but I'm looking forward to staying alive for just those.
Fair enough. Yeah, there's some good stuff coming. Mm-hmm. What else? The Star Wars Podcasting Awards. That's been going on for a couple weeks. They've been releasing different categories for people to vote on for a few weeks, and we've been nominated for 4, I think, as far as I've seen it.
Yeah, I'm glad you're keeping track of this because.
Yeah, I noticed that you haven't been following quite as much, but I like seeing these things. It's fun because I like voting for not only our show, but there's some other shows I really like to see do well. So I've been voting for them as well.
Yeah, you're an avid Star Wars podcast listener. I have a lot of other podcasts I listen to. I try and keep my passion.
Contained in this in the episodes that you hear
in this
here.
podcast. As I keep my music podcasts are what I mostly focus on, just to keep the dream alive, while I'm wasting my life editing these podcasts.
Totally fair. And to be fair, I only listen to 3 or 4 shows a week. I subscribe to maybe close to 10 Star Wars podcasts, but I don't have the time to listen to every single one every week. So it really depends on what's going on. And there's a few that I consider can't miss. But we're among them. We got 4 nominations for new show of the year, which is cool because we've only been around for basically 2 months. Editing and production, which says a lot about the work that you're doing here. Thank you, Mike. Logo design for our artwork for the show.
That's you. That's all you.
Yeah. And the People's Choice. So that's the big one. But we'd be happy to win any of them, and we're happy enough to be nominated for all of them. So thank you, everybody who put in nominations and who's voted for us so far. We appreciate it. I think the voting will be closed by the time this gets out there, so maybe we'll be able to follow up next time with either some wins or losses. Either way,
yeah.
One thing in the news that I kind of wanted to bring up before we dive into our topic for the evening was, episode 8 is in production. We talked about that before, but this production doesn't seem to be locked down quite as tightly as JJ's. So there's a bunch of production photos and videos, and some kind of spoilery material going out and around. And I haven't been reading a whole lot of that, but I wanted to run that by you, Mike, and see what your thoughts were on production leaks and that sort of thing.
I woke up this morning and my roommate Pat, he said to me, "Hey, did you see production stills have emerged on the internet?" And I just kind of I was like, no, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to even know where they're filming. I don't want to know locations. I don't want to know what I'm going to see in the slightest bit. Just seeing that one teaser that came out of 3 weeks ago or whatever, when production started, I was kind of like, that already got me jumping onto crazy conclusions and possibilities, being like, oh, I mean, you and I talked about the whole previously on Star Wars dilemma that we're kind of looking at or fearing,
Sure. Yeah.
And so I just don't even want to have to be concerned about that. I don't want to worry about the quality of the movie a year and a half before it comes out.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but at the same time, isn't it kind of fun to join in all the the theories and the possibilities of it as it kind of unwinds,
Sure. Yeah, the theories have been since I left the theater for episode 7 one time. To be clear, one time I've left the theater. But yeah, I mean, I love the theories. I love talking, the Darth Plagueis thing. That actually is really interesting to me. The Rey theories, as stupid as some of them are to me. But as far as having those theories, I don't want any legitimacy thrown onto those theories at this point.
Well, that's fair. I like to get involved. I like to listen to what's going on. And generally, I'll listen to podcasters kind of summations of what's going on. And generally, it's just a quick hey, they're filming here, and this is sort of the thing we're seeing. But I don't want to see it for myself, because listening to it and thinking about it is one thing, because I can kind of visualize something in my head. But I don't want to see. I don't want to see the shots that we're going to see in the movie from a different point of view and in worse quality. You know what I mean? I don't want to sully what the final product is based on photos that are being taken by crew members from behind the scenes.
I mean, it's one thing to consider the Rey theory, okay, what if Rey is Luke Skywalker's daughter? Which I don't think that holds a lot of water, but a lot of people do think it holds water. But if I was to see a picture on set, while they're filming of Luke looking at Rey in a certain way, or that is what I mean by adding legitimacy to one of these theories, being his hand is on her shoulder in a certain way, or he's hugging her in a certain way, that would say to me oh, they're closer than just Padawan and Master or something like that. And I don't want to think about those kind of things. I don't even want to know what people's hairstyles are going to look like.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of this time around, I think. I think it's going to be harder to avoid than last time, despite having apparently a drone army.
Oh my God.
Have you read this? Have you read this?
This is great news. I love what you're telling me right now.
There's apparently some kind of drone army around some of the production sets that are fighting off, spectator drones that are trying to get shots of the areas where they're shooting the movie. Apparently, the production team has their own army of drones that are supposed to take other drones out if they get too close.
I actually had a presentation at work the other day from a drone company, and the guy was you can actually we actually have no fly zones programmed into our thing because we have a GPS built into our drone.
Oh.
And so if you're flying near LaGuardia, for instance, you have a mile and a half or something, you can't fly the drone near the airport, and you can't go above a certain height. So if the altimeter on the drone hits something,
that's interesting.
But that's the thing, is not everybody's using this company's drones. So,
yeah.
So and not every drone has a GPS unit in it. So that I feel once drones become more standardized and regulated, we'll see a lot more of that. The production company won't have to have their drone army to monitor snoops. They'll have it programmed. They'll be okay, so drone world can't go into this latitude and longitude. These coordinates are off limits for drones. That way you hit an invisible wall, basically. It's like gaming almost,
I mean, that's smart, and I think that's a good idea, but not as cool as an opposing army of drones.
Not. It's not, especially if they have laser cannons or something like that.
I like to think of it. Do you watch Bob's Burgers? Because there's an episode of Bob's Burgers that reminds me of that so much, where Bob basically he picks up RC planes and helicopters and stuff, and at the end of it, like, he has this battle with the guy who owns the shop, and like they're just like firing tiny torpedoes at each other, and I just think that'd be so fun to see. I kind of want to go out to one of these locations and just fly a really crappy drone up there just to see what happens. But despite having this little buzzing army, apparently things are getting leaked out from the ground still. So that's something we're just going to have to avoid for the next couple of months.
For me, it's just holding my breath until the Rogue One trailer drops. Like, every day, I'm just waiting.
It's coming. It has to be coming out in the next month.
I don't know. Like, maybe with Captain America, like maybe they'll toss it on at the beginning of that.
I don't know. I just feel like it has to be soon.
Yeah.
Considering how far the lead time was for the last movie's trailer, I just feel like there has to be something coming up to start teasing it. Otherwise, like, who's going to be anticipating this new movie? Because most people who know what Star Wars is and like follow Star Wars news, they know it's the standalone movie that's kind of interesting, and they're probably going to go see it. But for the people that aren't, your mainstream media sort of junkies, they might not want to see it, even if they like find out what it's about, because a lot of people are asking me, like, oh, so this one isn't episode 8, it's just something else. I'm like, yeah, it's an anthology film. It kind of fits in between, some of the older episodes, and it fills in the story from a different perspective, and it's going to have a different feel. And like, oh, okay, well, that's cool, but I really just care about the main story. So, if that's the pitch, if the pitch is basically like, no, this isn't the main Star Wars story, what's going to get, your sort of typical moviegoers out there? They have to have something come out to tease it, right?
It can't be any later than May or June, which puts it in Captain America range, and or even like the Batman Superman movie. I'm just thinking like the biggest blockbusters coming out this year that could possibly have like a sci-fi fantasy movie as a teaser.
Especially with Marvel.
Yeah, Disney Marvel. Oh, that makes so much sense. It's got to be Captain America, which we just got a great teaser for this week. Oh my God. We don't have to talk about that, but oh man, we got a great teaser for that. I need a great teaser for Rogue One. I just need it.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe it won't even be a theatrical teaser. I mean, I'm fine with the YouTube thing. Just drop something on YouTube.
I guess that brings us to our main event tonight, which I see as like a boxing match, because we had a brief text conversation about this back a few months ago, or maybe a month ago at this point, and I feel pretty firm on one side of this fence, and you are. I'm
definitely on the other end, and you're gonna have to forgive us. It has been a little while since we talked about this, but it's still something that has been on my mind, and I want to dig into it a little further. So
I taste the blood in my mouth.
Bring it on, Mike.
I don't have a lot of ammunition,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I just got this feeling, I got a feeling about it.
You've got your gut. That's fine.
I got my gut, and I got what I see. It's all about interpretation. So let's clue everybody in on what we're talking about.
Okay.
What we're talking about is you give me your thesis here, and we'll have a nice debate about this.
Okay. Han Solo is dead, and it's Rey's fault. And now,
wait. Okay,
that's the stark way of putting it.
Okay.
In basically, my entire thesis is based around the idea that it was Rey's Force Awakening that pushed Kylo Ren to kill his father. It's my idea that when Kylo Ren was interrogating Rey, and she pushed back, and she ended up making her way into his mind, that she actually pushed him to basically seal the deal and kill his dad. I'm not sure. I honestly, I don't think that Han Solo would be dead if not for Rey's involvement in the events that transpired in The Force Awakens.
And that is the crux of the matter here for me, is that you believe that if Rey had not been involved in this film at all, which for some weird reason, which wouldn't make sense, that you think that Han Solo would have walked out of this movie alive.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's entirely possible. And
okay.
I know you think otherwise, and so I'm going to let you go first.
I guess we can just go back to like the only ammunition I have, which is dialogue from the movie and scenes in the movie. I don't think there's a lot of there's a lot. I don't think looking at characters' expressions holds a lot of water in this sense. Like, the only objective evidence we have is lines in the movie, and maybe actions, but like we can't really interpret facial emotions. Like just it's hard to gauge. Like the look in someone's eyes, and like tone of voice when there's no overt sarcasm in a line or something like that. You can't say like, oh, well, he really meant this when he said it.
I completely agree.
Okay, so you agree. Okay.
Totally agree.
Okay. So, I mean, objective evidence we have here, really just the scene between Supreme Leader Snoke and Kylo Ren, which we have audio of here. I think the first part of this is going to be very good audio that someone somehow found, and then the second half of this clip is going to be just garbage audio I found on YouTube somewhere, which hopefully doesn't get pulled down by the time I go to edit this. Supreme Leader Snoke says, there has been an awakening.
Have you felt it?
And Ren replies,
Yes.
Snoke says,
There's something more. The droid we seek is aboard the Millennium Falcon. In the hands of your father, Han
dramatic pause.
Solo.
And then Ren comes back immediately with Supreme Leader Snoke.
Master of the Knights of Ren. They've never faced such a test.
Kylo Ren right away.
By the grace of your training, I will not be seduced.
Snoke is still a little doubtful.
We shall see. We shall see.
I think the use of the word seduced at the end of that is really interesting. I mean, maybe this has nothing to do with our conversation, but just, he feels like he's going to be seduced by the light side or something.
When in reality, it seems that he's been seduced by Snoke.
Right. By the grace of Snoke's training, he has been seduced and will not be seduced otherwise.
Yeah, well, he won't be seduced back. Okay, so what are you getting out of this bit of dialogue? What is it that you're drawing from this to combat my idea that Rey was basically the turning point in Kylo Ren's, biggest downfall?
I think the biggest thing is the literal words on the page. If we were to take what Kylo Ren is saying at face value, which is, arguably not something you can always do with characters, whether they're untrustworthy or not. Kylo Ren says he means nothing to me, and you have to consider whether he actually means that or not. Whether Kylo Ren actually believes that Han Solo means nothing to him, and how quickly he responds by saying, "By the grace of your training, I will not be seduced." That's really what I'm looking at here, and the pressure that Snoke is putting on Ren. With even the Knights of Ren have never faced such a test.
But what does that even mean? We don't even know who the Knights of Ren are yet. We don't really know what they've gone through. Like,
he talks about that. I mean, don't Leia and Han talk about it, or somebody?
I don't think so. No, there's really no other reference to the Knights of Ren. There's like the shot in the flashback where they're surrounded by bodies, and then this line from Snoke, and essentially that's it. I think Lor Santeca might have even said something at the very beginning of the film, but there's really no description of what they are.
I feel maybe I'm meta critiquing now, because I mean, if you look on the all glorious website Wikipedia, you can get a lot of information extrapolated from various Star Wars sources at this point. I'm talking about the Knights of Ren and what they are. So, I mean, it is kind of going outside the scope of the film for me to, form my opinion. But from what I understand, the Knights of Ren came together and slaughtered what was left of Luke's Jedi, or what was created of Luke's Jedi, or something like that.
Okay, well, I'm looking at this bit of dialogue again. I'm just reading through it, and I'm trying to find anything to disprove my theory, but I don't think there's anything here, and I'll tell you why. I think that what he's saying here is that he's going to be facing Han, and that's going to be a test for him. Kylo Ren is going to be facing off against his father at some point, and that's going to be a huge test. It's going to be he's this guy that really wants to be bad. He really wants to be, this powerful Force user on the dark side. but he has this pull to the light, and obviously his dad is going to be trying to pull him back as well. So certainly there's a test. I don't see anything in this bit of dialogue that specifically says that he needs to go kill his dad, though. And I feel like that's what you're kind of hanging on to.
What is the test, though?
The test is that he's going to be like, you know, facing off with his dad, and basically he's going to have a choice.
A choice to do what?
A choice to join him or not. It doesn't say necessarily that he needs to kill his father to, you know, to complete his transformation of the dark side, because I think even now he's still going to feel conflicted. I just think that it was him trying to prove to himself that he could do something that was completely unforgivable.
All right. Well, okay. That's a good point. I'll take that. There's no literal command to kill anybody in that statement.
Right.
But the pressure's on. The pressure's
Absolutely.
definitely on.
There's a ton of pressure on him.
He's got to convince Snoke. He means nothing to me. By the grace of your training, I will not be seduced. Right now, he's got to prove to Snoke how little Han Solo means to him. That is what his goal is. I feel like leaving this conversation with Snoke, he's like, man, I really got to make the boss believe that I'm working hard here, you know? So
at this point, we can agree that Kylo Ren, you know, feels the pressure from Snoke to at the very least, come face to face with his father and make the choice to stay with the dark side, you know, resisting his pull to the light.
Okay.
Can we agree on that?
All right, fine. Round one, ding.
Okay, so let's go back to the part that I mentioned where Kylo Ren is interrogating Rey, okay?
Okay.
At this point, she's been captured. She wakes up. She's on a ship. You know, she makes the comment about the guy in the mask, and he takes it off. This is when, you know, she shows a side of herself that I think makes Ren angry when he's trying to interrogate her using the Force, and he's forcing his way into her mind, and he finds that, you know, she's kind of found herself a new father figure in Han Solo, his own dad. And in the movie, there's even that bit of dialogue where, you know, he makes a snarky comment about, you know, Han Solo wouldn't make a great father figure, like he would disappoint you. You know, I that's a funny line in the movie, but obviously, like, that means a lot to him because he has this conflicted pull to the light and these thoughts of his lineage, and obviously, you know, he wants to prove to Snoke that he's going to be dark. Like, that's his thing. So he already has this prejudice against her in this way where, you know, she idolizes this figure that he's sort of casted off as this, you know, old man who completely goes against his own ideals and, you know, is a disappointment as a father. And so he's angry at that. Like, he's angry that, you know, maybe she feels affection towards Han Solo, or maybe that even Han Solo feels affection towards her and not him. Maybe there was this thing where he wasn't getting enough attention as a kid. You know, it's hard to say. We don't know that whole story yet, but right. I can definitely see how Kylo Ren would be angry just at finding that. But it goes further. You know, he keeps pushing, and then all of a sudden he stops. And let me read. I don't have the script on hand. I have it somewhere, but I do have the book open, and I highlighted a portion. The barrier he encountered stopped him cold, and it was he, Kylo Ren, who blinked. It made no sense. He pushed hard with his mind, and the probe went nowhere. A look of amazement replaced the fear on Rey's face as she discovered herself inside his mind. Stunned at the realization, she found herself inexorably drawn to you, she heard herself saying clearly. You're afraid that you'll never be as strong as Darth Vader. So not only has she sort of insulted him by, you know, revealing this nugget in her head where she has this newfound relationship with his own dad, but she's also completely just backfired his interrogation on him, something that I'm sure has never happened before, and he's embarrassed in this way. Like, he wasn't expecting it, she wasn't expecting it, but she came out on top in this exchange. And, you know, just to rub salt in the wounds, she's pointing out his own fears, that he's never going to be as strong as Darth Vader. So, you know, what does that lead him to? Obviously, that leads Kylo Ren to thinking that he needs to do something bad, something like just terribly awful that, you know, even Darth Vader couldn't have done himself, which would be to kill his dad.
if he had met him, which apparently didn't exist, you know?
Right, for Anakin, but for Kylo Ren, obviously, like, that's the worst thing he could possibly do, is kill his own father. That was what Luke was faced with, but he didn't do it. That was his turn. That was his choice to go to the light. But obviously Kylo Ren knows that story, and he knows to go the opposite way, he would have to kill his father where Luke couldn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's it, though. But you think that the seed was planted. You think that the idea to kill Han Solo was planted at that moment with Rey.
Yes. This was the point where the seed was planted.
How could he not think of that? How would someone... I don't know. I guess this goes back to the test that we talked about before and what that test could possibly be. But I feel like if he's walking away from a conversation with Snoke saying, like, how can I be a badass? How can I be dark as Darth Vader, or more so? How could the idea of killing his father not cross his mind when he says?
I'm sure it has, but it's
that?
an entirely different thing for somebody to come out and actually say it. Like, say something that he knows to be true, to call you on it.
Yeah, to be like, hey, you don't have... But I guess, but she doesn't say it. She just says... she's stating a fact. She's reading into what he's feeling, and she says, you're scared. You think you're inadequate, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's enough to drive him over the edge.
I think it is. I think that in combination with, her own attachment to him and how she embarrassed him in that moment, and then to Snoke when he has to go and admit his failure to him, like that has everything to do with it. You know, in one stroke, killing his father both seals the deal for him in the dark side and gets back at Rey for what she did and how she embarrassed him. Because remember, Kylo Ren is this huge baby. He's a big baby, and he doesn't like to be, proven wrong. He doesn't like to fail. So when he fails, he wants to take it out on whoever made that happen to him. And in this case, like, Raisin has completely embarrassed him. That's completely evident after even after he kills Han Solo, and he looks up and he goes after her in the woods, and the intensity at which he fights her, and then at the last moment he tries to convince her to join him instead, so that he can reassert his dominance as master over her. Like, all of these clues just hint back to this idea that he's embarrassed, and he wants to do whatever he can to become the strongest Force user that has ever been, stronger than his grandfather, and to take out the guy who, kind of embodies everything that he isn't, which is his dad.
I don't know. I'm still not convinced. Oh,
man. I don't even know what else to tell you, Mike.
Well, I mean, you were just reading from the book. What if we go back to your book? Okay, here's my thing. Listen, I know that when it comes to canon in Star Wars, the kind of the hierarchy here is film over book. So like when there's a discrepancy between the film and the book, we have to talk about, okay, the film trumps the book in terms of what is real. Like, Jabba the Hutt didn't have 2 feet. So when we read the novelization of Episode 4, that's kind of messed up.
Sure. Absolutely. If it's in the movie, it's canon. If it's not explicitly explained, but it is in the novel, then that's considered canon as well. It's tricky, but it's,
So, I mean, taking that with a grain of salt, though, looking at the book that you just read from, that describes kind of that internal struggle, I have the quote that you actually supplied me with during our first conversation on this topic.
Okay.
It's the same conversation that we read before, but this time, it's got a little bit of a line change in there. So perhaps Snoke conceded, "It has come to our notice that the droid we seek is aboard the Millennium Falcon, once again in the hands of your father, Han Solo. Even you, master of the Knights of Ren, have never faced such a test." Ren considered his reply carefully. "It does not matter. He means nothing to me. My allegiance is with you." And then the line that I'm really focusing on here is, "No one will stand in our way." And Snoke nodded, "We shall see. We shall see." Meaning, so like it's a little that line, "No one will stand in our way." To me, is really where things change. And again, I know it's the novelization, not the movie that we.
I mean, to be fair, that line was used in the movie, just in a different spot.
The "No one will stand in our way."
Yeah.
Remind me, because I'm an idiot and haven't seen the movie again.
I'm trying to remember what spot in the movie. I think I'm pretty sure it was when he was talking to his grandfather's helmet. I mean, I have that section highlighted too, and I'm looking at it now. And it actually comes like 2 paragraphs after the point that you just read. So I think in the movie they just kind of mix that together, and he's talking to his grandfather, and he says, "Show me, grandfather, and I will finish what you started. No one will stand in the way." And then there's the conversation that you read at the beginning of the episode. So
that makes me feel a little better. Thank you for being fair.
It's
about
definitely
that.
in there. It's definitely in there.
So so look at the concept of "no one will stand in our way." Then,
sure.
Han Solo literally stands in Ren's way.
No, he doesn't.
On that catwalk.
No, he doesn't. Ren was walking the other way across the catwalk, looking for his dad.
Oh, god damn it! I should watch the movie again.
This is why you got to see it more than once.
I will. April 4th or whatever, whenever the DVD comes out, I'll watch it again. No, but I mean, like, still, Han is figuratively standing in his way when he calls him on that catwalk. Regardless of what direction Kylo Ren is walking in, Han Solo calls him back and gets in front of him and is trying to figuratively stand in his way of doing something terrible. So, like, just going on that principle alone, he's talking to that helmet before he meets Rey. And with like vowing to Darth Vader that no one will stand in his way, I feel like he's ready to do anything. I feel like Kylo Ren is ready to do anything to prove to Snoke that he is a badass dark side user of the Force.
Yeah, and I think that's Rey's fault.
You think that's Rey's fault?
I think it's Rey's fault. She definitely didn't intentionally make that happen. She didn't plant the seed intentionally. She didn't like call him out specifically to make him mad enough to kill his dad. Like, it's just a consequence of what happened when she came into her Force powers.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is that the seed. That's not the instigation. That's not the instigation.
That was it. That was it.
Not the steed or the seed.
I say nay.
Okay, you know what? I don't think the word you're looking for is the seed. I think what Rey is in this situation is the catalyst.
Sure.
But I don't think...
I could agree with that. Okay, he definitely has the idea that his father is going to be an obstacle. He may not know what he's going to do when he meets him, but I think after meeting Rey, he knows what he has to do. I think at that point on, he knows that to prove to himself and to Snoke and then to humiliate Rey or to make her feel pain, that's what he has to do to make that happen.
I don't know, though, because take Rey out of the equation altogether. He's still vowing to Darth Vader's helmet that no one will stand in his way. And then you have to say that if he had not had any of that interaction, this is all hypothetical again, so like I get that it's this is all theorizing and there's no way to actually prove this, but like I feel like based on what I saw in the movie and the emotions that we read in the novel, that there's no way he wouldn't have killed Han Solo on that bridge. And when we say Rey is the catalyst, that means anything else could have been in Rey's place to push him over the edge. Chewbacca could have like growled at him in a weird way or something like that and been like, "Hey, you bitch," and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill your best friend." Like I think anybody could have done it. Could have been that catalyst.
Yeah, maybe, but in this case, it was Rey.
Sure.
And if Rey hadn't done it, maybe Han Solo still wouldn't have died. Like there are other examples in the Star Wars universe where somebody is mad enough at someone that they could, still take them out. Like Chewbacca is a good example. Right after Han Solo is killed and he falls into the depths, Chewie gets so pissed and, he raises his bowcaster up and he probably could have killed him in that moment because there's this moment where Kylo Ren is just standing there sort of in shock that he actually did what he did. And obviously he's not paying attention. His feelings are, consumed by this act that he just committed. And he doesn't even notice this blaster bolt that comes his way and hits him in the leg. I'm sure Chewie could have taken him out in that moment if he wanted to, but he pulled back because there's still something there. There's still a level of care. But because of the things that, Rey said and the way that she resisted him, that coupled with the promises that he's making to, his grandfather's helmet and to Supreme Leader Snoke, like, he had to do it. In that moment, he had to do it. And, maybe it was the lighting. Maybe the mood lighting had something to do with it, too, after the sun went out. Like, there are a lot of things that could play into it, but I wholeheartedly think that it was Rey's objection to his Force probe and the things that she said in that moment and the things that she thought in that moment that he pulled out before she resisted that actually pushed him to commit that heinous act.
I don't know. I just can't get you to separate the idea that Rey, like, if Rey wasn't there, it would have been someone else.
Yeah, but Mike, at the beginning of this conversation, you said we just have to go by the facts and what was written. And that's what was written. That was was written in the book. That was what was written in the script, and it's what's on tape. And we will be watching on DVD here very shortly.
Yes, very shortly. I will definitely. I promise you that. But that's what I mean. What we see presented is that. But I'm not saying that Rey is a catalyst is not the cause. You have you have an element. You have two things we need to connect. We have to get Ren to the point of killing his father. And, like, I guess in a sense you're right then if you want to say that Rey is the catalyst, but I don't think there's anything.
I'm okay with changing my language if it gets you to agree that it was her involvement that pushed him to the point where Han Solo had to die.
But I think you're overemphasizing the importance of Rey.
No, I don't think I am. I honestly think that if, she wasn't Force sensitive and the information just, came out of her and he got what he needed, that, there wouldn't be anything else. Like, that would be it. I don't think that any involvement with Han Solo really would have changed anything. And if you want to go even deeper, even if Rey wasn't Force sensitive, but if Rey wasn't captured to begin with, it never would have happened, because the Resistance would be dead, and Han Solo might be dead with them, or he would still be off on his own, and he wouldn't have reconnected with Leia, who then, sent him on that mission basically to reclaim their son. Rey is the heart of the entire movie. Rey is the Force Awakens. Like, she's the whole point of the movie, and at the heart of it, like, she is the reason that Han Solo is dead, and it's tragic, and I think that's what makes it such a great movie for me.
I don't know. I guess I see that Kylo Ren is a child. I totally see that Kylo Ren is a child and that he could be swayed. And he's toying with the dark side, so he's susceptible to emotion. So I can see why, being made to feel inferior can definitely push him over the edge. But I just feel like, and I guess that's the operative statement there, is I feel like, instead of like, this is a fact of the matter, is that Han Solo would be falling off that catwalk whether or not he had that interrogation scene with Rey.
I'll admit that that's possible, but that's a what if.
Yeah, it is a what if. So, all right, you know what? I'm going down. I'm going down in this round in the sense that maybe you're going by the literal facts on the screen. If it was in the movie, Rey.
There is no escape. Don't make me destroy you.
Just say it.
No.
Just say it. Just say it.
No.
You're so close. Just say it.
I'll never join you. I'll never join you. The dark side just flirted with me real hard right now, and I ain't going over. No, I will not admit that it was Rey. I'm sticking to my guns, Jacob Tender. I'm sticking to my friggin' guns, and I'm saying that we shall see. Snoke's line, he's baiting him. He's baiting him right there. He's baiting him, and Snoke wants him to kill it, and that's what did it. And I'm saying for a fact that if there is no fact, there is no truth here. It's only what we want to believe. I still feel confident.
In what? What are you confident in? State your point.
I'm confident in the idea that she has something to do with it, but he would have done it otherwise. And that's I guess that's my point, is that he would have done it otherwise, whether Rey was involved or not.
Do you think he would have sought out his father? Like, what if his father wasn't even involved in the story? Like, what if Rey hadn't hijacked his old ship and Chewie and Han weren't driving by to, see it? Like, what if that never happened and Han and Chewie are still out there, passing around Rathtars, possibly getting killed by the Kanji Club? Those are a lot of what ifs. There's so many what ifs that could happen, but the fact is, Rey's involved in the story. Rey brought Han Solo back into the fold and back to his family, and she's the reason that he came to Starkiller Base, and I believe that she is the reason that Kylo Ren had to kill him.
Oh, this is you right now. I'm just on Bespin right now in that giant wind tunnel with my arm. My hand is cut off right now, and I'm holding on for dear life, and you're like, join me.
It is the only way.
Yeah, I'm reaching out.
And this is me letting go. This is me just letting go right now because I trust in myself and I know I'm going to fall down that chute and my sister Leia is going to come in the Falcon and save me right now. This is me falling down that chute because I got to stick to my guns. I don't think that, I think you put too much emphasis on something that we can't see. We can't see that Kylo Ren.
That's fine, Mike. Fall down that chute into Lando Calrissian's arms. But just remember that Han Solo isn't on that ship right now. And he won't be on that ship ever again in another 30 years. And it's Rey's fault.
So anybody who enjoyed this debate, who didn't turn it off halfway after they thought Jacob was cracked out of his mind, tell us what you think. Tell us what you think of this debate. If you're on Jacob's side, fine. Just say it to us. Just say it to my face. You know what I'm talking about? Or at least say it to my Twitter handle. My Twitter handle is @MikeComite, and you can find Jacob at Curbside Audio. And you can tweet at Bantha Fodder also.
Bantha Fodder FN.
Right. Episode notes. We're going to put up some episode notes. Hopefully some of the YouTube clips I'm going to use stay alive. If not, just go buy the DVD for yourself. It comes out April something, 1st or 4th. It comes out sometime, so just get the DVD for yourself. Go give Disney a lot more of your money.
Absolutely. And you can find those show notes at banthafodder.fm/episode/6. This is episode 6, so you can find that there. Got anything else, Mike?
I'm going to get my hand repaired by a medical droid, and I'm just going to go gaze out in the universe right now with my sister, who I'm oddly attracted to.
Realistically, you're probably going to go hang out with Erin and her dog.
Yeah, she's not my sister. She's not my sister. We share no genes.
Yeah, I'm going to go pack for South by Southwest and head to Texas in just about 48 hours.
Have the best time. And if you can find, oh man, I got a great barbecue joint I got to let you know about off the air.
Yeah, let me know about it.
I'm going to nurse my wounds. You say goodbye this time, Jacob. Let me start again. This is a bad story.